The Avengers don't need much of an introduction. They're the most famous super team on the planet and stars of the biggest movie franchise in history. Now, the Lantern Corps are actually from the DC universe, not the Marvel universe. However, for this video, we'll assume that they can go into the Marvel universe as well. For those who don't know, the Lantern Corps are groups of people who have power rings that give the wearer superpowers. They are the most powerful weapons in the universe, and they are powered by emotions. Emotions that the wearer must have a strong connection to, or else they can't use the rings. There are 9 Lantern Corps. These are the Green Lantern Corps of Willpower, the Blue Lantern Corps of Hope, the Indigo Corps of Compassion, the Violet Lantern Corps of Love, the Red Lantern Corps of Rage, the Yellow Lantern Corps of Fear, the Orange Lantern Corps of Avarice, the White Lantern Corps of Life, and the Black Lantern Corps of Death. Now, as I said, a strong emotional connection to the Lantern Corps is needed for the wearer to be able to use the ring. And in this video, we're going to look at what Lantern Corps will be best for the different Avengers. Now, I won't be going over all the Avengers in this video, just the founding Avengers from the first Avengers film, namely Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. I also have to say that the decisions made in this video will be based solely on the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. And with that in mind, let's begin. Captain America. Since Captain America was the first Avenger, it seems right to begin with him. Now, Captain America was first created as war propaganda to help the troops' morale about the war, and to help recruit others to become soldiers. And this was shown quite well in the first Captain America movie, because the first thing he does after he gets the super soldier serum isn't to go out and fight the Nazis, he instead goes around the country helping with morale and recruitment. And because of this, the only Lantern Corps that he can truly be in is the Blue Lantern Corps of Hope.
And I understand you're America's new hope.
Because that's what Captain America is, a symbol of hope.
Let's hear it for Captain America!
He is the perfect soldier who always wins, he's handsome and in peak physical condition, he always rallies the troops around him, and always has a plan for victory. It's for this reason that he is the leader of the Avengers. He is simply just a beacon of hope. Even before he got the super soldier serum, he never gave up and always wanted to help others, hence why he was chosen to be the first super soldier of America in the first place. As he inspires all those around him, and in all of the Marvel universe, I can't think of anyone who deserves a Blue Lantern Ring of Hope more than Captain America. The Black Widow. Black Widow is a tough character to label. She's beautiful and deadly and doesn't show much emotion. And even when she does show emotion, it's hard to tell if it's genuine or if she's just acting, as acting fake emotions out to manipulate people is kind of her speciality in the films. Which is also a problem that Bruce Banner has in the Avengers films, as he doesn't know if he can trust her or if she's just manipulating him.
It's just she's not the most open person in the world, but with you she seems very relaxed.
But she is a spy and an assassin who is a master at hand-to-hand combat, and certainly qualifies to be labelled as a ninja. And as such, fear seems the right Lantern Corps for her. Even her name, Black Widow, is designed to instill fear, as the Black Widow spider of course is famous for killing her mate after they've had sex. And all of this is a metaphor for the Black Widow. She manipulates you and gets close, and then when you least expect it, she takes you down. And this is of course quite scary, and Black Widow is also a practical woman. She sees that fear is the best way to get her job done. And so I think she'd take the fear ring with little resistance. After all, having the most powerful weapon would help her on the Avengers, and having the one that inspires the most fear is the one that I think would appeal to her the most. Iron Man. Tony Stark is a complex character, at least in terms of the comics. He's had many character changes over the years, dealing with addiction, guilt, and illness. In the films, however, when we are first introduced to Tony Stark, there is really only one Lantern Corps for him, the Orange Lantern Corps of Avarice, because he is a very selfish man who only cares about making more money for his company, and even more importantly, spending that money on a hedonistic lifestyle of alcohol and women. But thankfully this all changes. After Tony Stark is attacked and wounded and taken captive by terrorists, he has a change of heart and becomes a better man.
And that is why, effective immediately, I am shutting down the weapons manufacturer division of Stark International.
When he awakens to find that he's a prisoner, and that he also has a battery attached to him that's powering a magnet that is stopping shrapnel from piercing his heart, and that if he removes it he dies, rather than let this get to him, he instead just takes the battery and improves it, making it a smaller device so that he can move around better. And he then built the first Iron Man suit and used it to get his freedom. And he did all this when he was supposed to be making weapons for his captors, under the threat of death. Even when he has no real allies and no hope of being rescued, with shrapnel in his chest that may kill him, he still refuses to give in to his captors and build them the weapons that they will use to kill others. Because now that he knows what his weapons are being used for, not to defend the innocent, but instead just to attack and murder.
I saw young Americans killed by the very weapons I created to defend them and protect them.
He decides that he's not going to build any more. He's not going to help people go around killing people. And even though this is a completely hopeless situation, he still doesn't give up. So hope seems possible for him. But Iron Man doesn't really inspire hope. People believe in him, yes, and he has led many superhero teams. But to say that he's an inspiration and icon for hope is going too far. After all, he is actually quite a cynical and quite sarcastic character at times. And there's also the fact that hope isn't really what saw him through this ordeal. Yes, the hope helps, but what really saw him through it is his intelligence and willpower. He knew that he was smart enough to outmaneuver the terrorists and that he was able to invent his way out of this situation. It's his willpower that enabled him to endure a situation that would have killed many. And even more impressive is that he was able to hold on to his moral code in this situation and not build these terrorists any weapons at all. And when he did get free, he chose to become a superhero and make up for all the bad that he's already done in the world with his weapons. And all of this shows great strength of will. So I think the Green Lantern core of willpower is right for him. Because out of all the emotions he has shown over the years, at the moment the one that is shining through the most is his will to help people and to make up for his past. The Hulk. The Hulk is the easiest to put in a Lantern core, and of course it's the Red Lantern core of rage. Because the Hulk is all about anger. He's a bubbling pool of rage and fighting, and it's why we love him. Unlike the rest of us, he doesn't keep that rage bottled up, but instead lets it out. He is without a doubt the most obvious one of the Avengers to assign a Lantern core, so it doesn't really bear any great explanation, as we all know the Hulk is always angry. Now normally I would have looked at Bruce Banner as well, but as Bruce Banner says himself,
"That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry."
So it seems like rage works for him as well. Even though he doesn't really show this anger, I think what this does show is that he's bottling it all up, and that's where the Hulk actually comes from in the first place. And we do have to take into account the fact that, technically speaking, Bruce Banner and the Hulk are one person. So he can really only belong to one Lantern core, and I think rage works best for both of them. Hawkeye. Now, not a lot is really known about Hawkeye in the films. Even the fact that he had a wife and kids was kept secret from us all, so that no one in the world could use them against Hawkeye and against S.H.I.E.L.D. When he's with the Avengers, he jokes and he banters, but he doesn't really do much more than that. We never really get a feel for his personality and emotions. In the comics, there is a lot more to his character, but in the films, other than the fact that he's great with a bow and arrow and has kids, we don't know much about him. He's a good fighter and keeps a level head. He never seems to get emotional, even when he's in the most extreme of combat situations. He's always thinking logically and strategically. Even when Loki came in and mind-controlled him with the Mind Stone, he still thought tactically and logically, and stayed focused on the task at hand.
"Sir, Director Fury is stalling. This place is about to blow. Drop 100 feet of rock on us."
But all of this makes him the hardest to figure out what Lantern Corps he should be in. There are only two real candidates that I can see. One that can be argued is love. He has a great deal of love for his kids and his wife, so much so that he's protected them from the whole world. No one even knows they exist except for Nick Fury and the other Avengers, because he doesn't trust anyone else and he wants to protect them. And so I think love does make a lot of sense here, and it could easily be the one he has, because him fighting so hard to protect his family by hiding them shows how extreme his level of love is. The other Lantern Corps that he could be considered for is the Green Lantern Corps of willpower, because as I've said, he has a great amount of focus, and his level of training and skill with a bow and arrow and fighting has come from one thing: years of dedication and practice. which again shows his determination and willpower. So I think the Lantern Corps of willpower makes perfect sense for him. It could really go either way for him, either willpower or love. But ironically, I think it's actually his love for his family that would have him turn down the Love Lantern Corps and take the Willpower Lantern Corps. Now, most of the time these characters can't actually choose which Lantern Corps to be in, but if they qualify for more than one, they do have the option. And if he were to take the Love Lantern Corps, people would start to wonder what it is that he cares about so much, and this could expose the fact that he has a family. So I think he would take the Willpower Lantern Corps, as it would protect his family and not expose any weakness. But really, it could go either way for him, even though I must say I think that the Green Lantern Corps is better suited for him, as on the overall, we really see his willpower shine through throughout the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. 4. When we first meet him in the first Thor film, he is brash and arrogant, and really, at this time, he belongs in the Yellow Lantern Corps of Fear, as all he actually cares about is the glory of combat and his enemies being afraid of him. The whole reason he first attacks the Ice Giants, against Odin's will, is to teach them a lesson in respect, to let them know that they should fear him and Asgard's might. So at this point, fear suits him perfectly. But he has changed a great deal since then, learning to be a better man and eventually a better leader of Asgard. And as Thor currently stands after the Ragnarok film, he has come fully into both his godly power and his position as the heir to the throne of Asgard. And though he has displayed a lot of emotions over the years, I think the Lantern Corps that best suits him now is the Lantern Corps of Life. The Life Lantern Corps has the power of all the different Lantern Corps and is the most powerful of them all, which suits Thor perfectly, though there is some debate on who is stronger, Thor or Hulk.
Voice activation required.
Banner.
Welcome, strongest Avenger.
What?
Really, Thor has the most different powers, and he has the most experience wielding great amounts of power. Power that he was arrogant with at first, but has learnt to respect and more importantly, to control. And though so far all he's really shown is his lightning abilities, he does have other powers that may come out in the future. And really, as a powerful god, the Life Corps makes the most sense, as he fights for his kingdom's right to survive, and since he is functionally immortal, or at least he's going to live for a few thousand years, it seems to fit him best. After all, he's certainly full of life and vigour. So I think this would be the best Lantern Corps for him. And that is the Lantern Corps that the Avengers belong in. Do you agree with my choices, or do you think they should be in different Lantern Corps altogether? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those of you who made this video possible by donating to the Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. Patreon is a crowdfunding site that's helping us to bring you more videos each week and to raise funds for adapting comic book stories into short animated films. If you're interested in donating or just want to find out more, a link is in this video's description. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.